The Free Market, Presentation 6, Part C, and the Building Blocks of a Free Society series. Our founders agreed with Adam Smith that the greatest threat to prosperity is the arbitrary intervention of the government into the economic affairs of private business and the buying public. The existence of a free market does not, of course, eliminate the need for government. On the contrary, government is essential both as a forum for determining the rules of the game and as an umpire to interpret and enforce the rules decided on. What the market does is to reduce greatly the range of issues that must be decided through political means, and thereby minimizes the extent to which government need participate directly in the game. The proper role of government in the free market should be limited to 4 areas. 1. Maintenance of law and order, to prevent physical coercion of one individual over another and enforce contracts voluntarily entered into. 2. Fraud, prevent misrepresentation of the quality, location, or ownership of the item being sold or bought. 3. Monopoly, to prevent the formation of that which eliminates competition and results in restraint of trade. And 4. Debauchery, prevent commercial exploitation of vice, pornography, prostitution, drugs, gambling, etc., that are detrimental to the moral fiber of society. Thomas Jefferson wrote, "A wise and frugal government is one which will restrain men from injuring one another, and shall leave them otherwise free to regulate their own pursuits of industry and improvement." America had seen unprecedented prosperity and progress through the combination of a free market and a constitutionally limited government. Milton Friedman wrote that the story of the United States is the story of an economic miracle and a political miracle that was made possible by the translation into practice of 2 sets of ideas, both formulated in documents published in the same year. One set of ideas was embodied in Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations, the key insight of which was that both parties to an exchange can benefit, and that so long as cooperation is strictly voluntary, no exchange will take place unless both parties do benefit. No external force, no coercion, no violation of freedom is necessary to produce cooperation among individuals, all of whom can benefit. The second set of ideas was embodied in the Declaration of Independence that proclaimed a new nation, the first in history established on the principle that every person is entitled to pursue his own values. The fecundity of freedom. Fecundity meaning the ability to produce in abundance. The combination of economic and political freedom permitted rapid economic growth, dramatically improving the standard of life for the ordinary citizen. People yearning for freedom and opportunity came by the millions. They came because of the hopes of those who preceded them were largely realized. The streets of this new nation were not paved with gold, but hard work, thrift, and enterprise brought rewards that were not even imaginable in the old world. As the newcomers spread from east to west, cities sprang up and more land was brought into cultivation. The country grew more prosperous and more productive, and the immigrants shared in the prosperity. It's important to note that all of this prosperity and progress was achieved during a time of limited government. The proven formula for maximizing freedom and human happiness. Protected individual rights and property rights, plus established objective law, plus equality of opportunity and of treatment under the law, plus a constitutionally limited government and a free market economy equals a free and prosperous society. What is the opposite of a free market? The opposite of a free market is a planned economy. A free market requires no coercion of individuals or direction of resources. Men are free to trade voluntarily with one another for mutual benefit. Economic order emerges as the unintended consequence of the actions of many people seeking their own interest, based on the recognition of individual rights and property rights of ownership. A planned economy, by comparison, requires coercion of individuals necessary for the direction of resources. Exchange is not based solely on voluntary trade. Central planning is necessary in an attempt to achieve economic order. This necessitates a strong, centralized, authoritarian government. As a result, individual rights and property rights are subordinated to the objectives of the government. With regard to political systems, the opposite of a constitutionally limited government is statism. Under a constitutionally limited government, individual rights and property rights are paramount to government objectives. Limited and well-defined power is granted to the government by the people to protect these rights. Under statism, there are no limitations to government initiatives, regulations, and power. Rights are granted to the people by the government and may be modified as the government sees fit. The people serve the government or the state. Key points to Section 6C on the free market. 1. Government interventions are the major sources of distortion in the price system. 2. Our founders agreed with Adam Smith that the greatest threat to prosperity is the arbitrary intervention of the government into the economy. 3. The proper role of government in the economy is to determine the rules of the game and to act as an umpire to interpret and enforce the rules decided upon. And 4. Unprecedented prosperity and progress were achieved by the combination of a free market and a constitutionally limited government. In this series of presentations, we've seen that a free society exists when political power is vested in the individual, at the base of the pyramid, and granted in limited amounts to the government. Power is derived from the bottom up in a free society. A free society is supported by these fundamental building blocks of freedom, rights, equality of rights, rule of law, self-government, and a free market. The deterioration or removal of any one of these will cause a free society to fall. This concludes Building Blocks of a Free Society, the first part of the Preserving Freedom Through Education series. The following series will explore socialism and its effect on societies. The principal references for the building blocks of a free society have been Capitalism, the Unknown Ideal by Ayn Rand, Free to Choose by Milton and Rose Friedman, Political Ideologies by Leon Baradat, and The 5,000 Year Leap, A Miracle That Changed the World by Cleon Skousen.